Thanksgiving Day, Team 3.
In 1920, the survivors of the Mayflower ship arrived at Plymouth, now in the state of Massachusetts. The England Pilgrims received the help of the Wanapona tribe to cultivate and hunt. The next year, due to the successful harvest, the Pilgrims organized a celebration feast. They invited Native American allies, including Massaid, the Wampanoag chief. The Pilgrim Edward Winslow wrote, "Our harvest being gotten in, our governor sent for men on falling, that so we might after a special manner rejoice together, after we had gathered the fruits of our labors. Therefore in one day kill as much fowl, as with a little help beside served the company almost a week. Many of the Indians come in among us, and amongst the rest of their greatest came Massaid, with some 90 men, whom for 3 days we entertained and feasted, and they went out and killed 5 deer, which they brought to the plantation and bestowed on our governor." This practice takes place in an annual feast in other New England settlements, but the harmony was not so long. Actually, in Southeast colonies, conflicts were common between natives and settlers. To develop a national feeling after the Independence War and the ratification of the U.S. Constitution, George Washington proclaimed the first Thanksgiving celebration of the new nation. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln established the Thanksgiving Day holiday to the last Thursday in November. The writer Sarah Josepha Hale did that idea several years until the official proclamation. Nowadays, Thanksgiving Day holiday is more important than December holiday because it includes all beliefs and cultures.
Thanksgiving Day is a family holiday where food is plain food. The main objective of this meeting is to give thanks for all the good things you have and ask for blessings together for all the family. The main reason, which still remains intact, is to share blessings with the closest family and loved ones. Although during the rest of the year family members may be separate, on Thanksgiving Day is the norm to meet in a home, usually that of the oldest relative, who is generally the grandparents. Some charitable organizations offers traditional food to the homeless and those most in need in their community.
The meal at Thanksgiving Day. The food is eaten by Americans at Thanksgiving Day. It captures the stories about the establishing of the American nation. Apple cider. Cider was once the national beverage. Later, unfermented sweet cider would become more common on American tables, but before the mid-1800s, the hard stuff was the drink of choice for Americans, New Englanders most of all. Introduced to North America from Europe, apple trees grew well in the temperate climate, with many New England families pressing cider from their own orchards. Production was so successful that in 1767, Massachusetts colonists drank an estimated average of 35 gallons of cider per person. Many believed it was more healthful and safer to drink than water. Cider was much more than a substitute for clean water, however. Medieval Normans had brought cider with them across the English Channel. The people they conquered in 1066 would grow to love it and eventually took it across the Atlantic on their own quest for new lands. Turkey. The beer of many Americans' Thanksgiving tables today might be about the only thing that connects this national holiday with the romanticized meal in 1621 shared by pilgrims and Indians
and studied by so many generations of American school children. William Bradford, governor of Plymouth Plantation, tells us in his account of the colony's early years that settlers' diets that fall included wild turkey along with venison, cod, bass, waterfowl, and corn. The turkeys might have been quite welcome to the newcomers in their harsh and unfamiliar new surroundings. Thanks to their Spanish imperial rivals, the English had been enjoying the meaty bird for decades. Spaniards had encountered turkeys in the early forays in the New World and had brought the fowl back home. Turkey became popular across Western Europe and around the Mediterranean and was one of the first American foods to be widely eaten by Europe. So well established in England was the New World bird that English settlers brought domesticated turkeys to America in the colony's first years. Cranberry sauce. Although certain varieties of cranberry grow in parts of Europe, the turkey's most popular dinner companion tells a story of New World cultural exchange. The fruit's name is a legacy of 17th century German settlers in America, called in medieval England mossberry, and other similar terms that allude to the fruit's boggy habitat. English speakers borrowed their German neighbors' term cranberry, which refers to the long, crane-like stamens of the plant. The fruit use draws on native food cultures. Indigenous peoples had long raised and eaten the berries. A 1672 account of the colonies reported that Indians and English used it much, boiling them with sugar for a sauce to eat with their meat. Cranberry sauce has been paired with turkey, in particular, since at least the 18th century. Sweet potatoes with marshmallows. For many, the Thanksgiving meal must include sweet potatoes with marshmallows. The happy marriage of the tuber with caramelized gooey goodness owes itself to two developments of the 1800s. In the late part of the century, in the decades when the national Thanksgiving holiday took hold, Northerners discovered sweet potatoes, long eaten in the South, and incorporated them into the special meal. Meanwhile, marshmallows have been recently invented by those culinary trendsetters, the French, who beat the roots of the marshmallow plant with egg whites and sugar to make a showy treat. Handmade and something of a luxury at first, marshmallows became more affordable after entrepreneurs substituted more widely available gelatin for marshmallow root, and in an era that was developing mass production techniques more generally, figured out how to manufacture an affordable product on a grand scale. In 1917, the Angelus Marshmallows Company distributed a recipe booklet that taught Americans how they might use marshmallows. With that, the classic pairing had arrived.
Other countries have a Thanksgiving celebration, but it could be not official. Germany, Japan, Liberia, Grenada, Santa Lucia, and Brazil are some examples where have their own traditions and practices about Thanksgiving.